Hello, everyone, and welcome to another interview for Extraordinary Latinas. I'm your host, Ileana Rojas, and today I'm excited and grateful to welcome Paulette Piñero. Paulette, you're a successful Latina entrepreneur, founder and CEO of Lead Media. You are passionate about helping Latinas get a job or help them grow their business. You have an incredible podcast. You're a passionate advocate for Latinx families navigating the greater Boston education system. You're involved in many organizations that elevate Latinas, helping them find their voice. You're an inspiring and extraordinary Latina, and I'm just so grateful to have you here today.
I'm excited. I'm excited to be with another extraordinary Latina and share this space with you.
Thank you. And I want to start with, if you can share with us your story. Where did it all begin?
So it began in 1987 in Puerto Rico. No. But I tell people, if I like you, if I tell you I'm from Puerto Rico in the first 5 minutes that we've known each other. So I always have to start my story with Puerto Rico because home is where the heart is, but also it's where I started my career. I started my motherhood journey. So I was born and raised in Puerto Rico and moved to Massachusetts in 2013 after trying to get special education services for my son Alex, who has autism. And after waitlist and struggling for him to get the right services, my husband and I decided to pack everything in 2 weeks and move to Massachusetts and move to Boston um, with his family. And I've been in Massachusetts since 2013. And my background is working in human service nonprofits and education nonprofits. And for the longest time, I thought that that was the dream, right? I'm all about impact driven work. I'm all about my why. I'm all about missions and change, doing change in our communities. But I thought the only way to do that was working with a nonprofit as an employee. I thought that living out my why meant that the only way that I could do it was doing it for someone else. But I realized that, well, even though I love doing programming and working in nonprofits and working with board of directors, the part that excited me personally the most was building leadership pipelines. It was more about the management of staff. It was really about empowering women, especially women of color, to elevate their voice, but also own their leadership journeys. And in 2018, I did an empowerment boot camp, and I opened a Google document. I started writing my business plan. I used to work in at SBA in Puerto Rico, so I knew a lot of about that process, and I had helped so many people launch their businesses as a consultant. And I opened a Google document. I started writing this business plan, and I kept waiting and postponing and postponing. And it wasn't until um, early last year that I was playing with my daughter, and she started packing a bag, and she said, bye, I'm going on a trip. I'm like, where are you going? And she said, well, I'm just like you. When I grow up, all I'm going to do is travel. And I'm like, does that make you happy? And she said, no, but that's what you do. And I asked her, do you think mom is happy? Because I also thought, like, ooh, I have a job where I travel every other month. I finally made it. And I said, does that make you happy? Does that get you excited? And she said, no, it doesn't get you excited, but you still do it. And it's one of those parenting moments where, like, you have a mirror in front of you, and it's like, oh my God, like, my daughter, I'm thinking that all this sacrifice or making these choices for my career is what's best for my children, that I haven't realized, or my kids are even realizing that I'm not doing what's best for myself. And I opened back that business plan, and 2 weeks later, I sat down with my husband and I'm like, I think this is what I want to do. And he was like, about time. About time. So I launched Leap Media last year, and I realized that you can still live out your purpose, that you can still uh, do impact driven, mission driven, anti racist work while still following your dreams and living out your why.
Oh my God, like that is, I mean, we've known each other and I hadn't heard that part of the story. Like, kudos to you. It's such an incredible story. And I think you bring up well, you bring up a lot of points, but this leading by example, I think it's something that a lot of us don't necessarily do, or we feel that we're doing. We tell others what they need to do, and then we're not.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily follow our own. I think that's a great example with you and your daughter about just grasping on and doing it yourself. How did it feel? Like you said, you've been doing it, for a past couple of years, opening this Google Doc and trying to get it going, but postponing it. And I feel, related in many ways, because we sort of start, but then all these fears come in, and then you put things aside, right? Because again, all these voices. How did it work for you, and how were you able, in addition to your daughter telling you that you needed to do this? Did those fears sort of now go away, or how did that journey happen?
So for me, it was the fear, but also I was like, oh, I will do this in 10 years, or I need to have all this work experience, or I need to do like the doctorate degree, right? I I created this timeline for myself that wasn't realistic, that wasn't around what I really wanted to do. It was more of the perception of what I thought was successful. So I was looking for what will look perfect for people to believe in my capacity and my skills, rather than understanding that I already have those skill sets, that I don't need to be perfect or know how to do everything, and that by focusing on my niche, on what I do great, what gets me excited, and who are the people, who are my clients, who are the people that I can work with. Once I focus on those three things, I was able to push away that perfectionism. I didn't have to wait to retire at a certain age to be able to follow my dreams and do my passion. And that's still something that I work with, not only with myself through journaling, to like having conversations with myself, but also very honestly through therapy, to remind myself that there will never be a perfect time to follow my dreams. There will never be a perfect time to do what I love. Part of being an entrepreneur and part of being a leader is being comfortable with being uncomfortable. So there will never be a perfect time. And once I embraced the messiness, and I was open to pilot things in a small scale and just pivot and keep going, it's been way easier to, to absorb and move forward.
Oh my God, I love that phrase, embrace the messiness. I'm going
Hmm.
to quote you on that because I think that's super
Yes.
important. But I also think, as I hear you talking, that because I relate in terms of the perfection, like we want everything to be perfect, and embracing that messiness, helps with the thought. But I also hear hints of belief. In the end, you believe in yourself. You believe
Hmm.
that no matter how messy or how perfect, it really comes down to you, and to acknowledging your strengths, to acknowledging your talent, to acknowledging the value that you bring to your clients, to the work that you're doing, to your family, to the world. And I feel like that seems like an easy thing to do,
Mhm.
but sometimes it's so hard because we don't know who we are. So embracing who we are then makes it challenging. How did you how did you come to terms with who you are and being able to embrace that and believe in you?
It was I do this. I've been doing career coaching, career mentoring for a long time. And like, we were talking before, it's so easy to tell other folks how to do it. Right? Because we talk about, and I do strategic analysis and planning. It's like, let's do a SWOT analysis. Let's do a SOAR analysis. Let's see this as opportunities rather than weaknesses. And, through career coaching, let's do all these exercises about your strengths. But I wasn't giving myself the same grace as I was asking other folks to do it. So I I decided, it's very easy for the consultant mind brain in me to see gaps and weaknesses, because as a consultant you're providing recommendations to make a program stronger or make a company project even better. How do I see myself as an asset? How do I focus on my skills? And then rather than seeing weaknesses, how do I turn those roadblocks into opportunities? And one of the things that made me transition into full-time entrepreneurship, the to make it's not seamless, but the easiest way I was able to do it, and that I was able to feel confident that I was in the right space, was partnering with other people. Just because this is not my strength, just because this is not what I want to do. I don't want to do more programming. I have done programming my whole career, 15 years. I have done fundraising and development for 15, 16 years. Don't call me for that. I get calls every day, but like, now I have people to recommend. Um, if I'm talking to a client and I'm not the right fit, I'm able to, talk to Eliana, talk to this person, building a network of people that have similar professional values as mine, who are mission and impact driven, and who are very clear on their strengths, has helped me see these challenges, or when I second guess myself, as opportunities to expand the impact, to build strategic partnerships, and then build a network of especially powerful Latinas and powerful women of color to build businesses together. And that was one of the things that scared me the most. This imposter syndrome of like, what if they ask me to do something? Do I need to lie? Do I not take this project? And now I am empowered to say this is not the right project for me, but here are people who are the right fit. And they say your network is your net worth. And I believe that I wouldn't be where I'm at without this network of powerful women who are there to support each other and build each other up.
I think that I completely agree. I think it's so important, and it's something that I know that I didn't know that I could do. I feel that a lot of us feel that we're in it, we're powerful, women, and we need to do everything on our own, and we need to prove ourselves that we can do everything, even if we don't know. So it's so important. Thank you for mentioning, to recognize that, yes, being powerful and being superwoman doesn't mean that you need to know everything and
Hmm.
do everything. It just means that you have the courage to step up and to uh, do what's good for you, and then lean on others for what's good for others. So thank you for saying that. I think that's so important. And on that note, through your journey, either in your previous life or in this life, have you had mentors along the way, formal or informal, that have helped you with these realizations, or who's inspired you?
So I say number one, my best friend is my abuela, my grandma. People always laugh, but I talk to my grandma almost every day. um, because she's someone that inspires me, that mentors me. She, was a director of the Department of Labor, and she, she can advise me and she was a business owner. She's a published author, so she can advise me on my career or business side, but also at the end of the day, she's my abuela. So I know it all comes with love. So she was my first mentor, and she's my everyday coach and mentor. But I've had um when part of what I learned throughout my career is the importance of having champions, of having mentors, of having folks. I call it with my clients, who is in your professional board of directors and who is in your professional board of advisors. And I had to learn that the hard way because I grew up with this, either you're calladita te ves más bonita, like, don't complain, stay quiet and be thankful, or, this competitive side. And I had to learn that not only was about building my network of peers and me supporting others, but then it was like, what are my goals? Where do I want to see myself? And who are the people that are already there willing to support me and champion me? And I've had several mentors across my career. The first thing that I did when I decided to go into full-time entrepreneurship was find a mentor, um, actually two, and build my board of advisors, because it goes back to, like, you don't have to know everything. You shouldn't know how to do every single thing. And there's so much power in being able to problem solve with someone else, to hear someone else's perspective, to have someone be objective and see things from a different and innovative way. And I think the other lesson that I learned is that mentors and champions, for you to have a good relationship with them, it doesn't mean that they will be with you for the rest of your life. And there were some mentors that, transitioned out of that role. And I thought that I was not being successful. I thought I did something wrong. And I had to learn that, you will have different type of mentor relationships. Your manager or a manager at the company, or the CEO or an executive who sees potential in you when you connect with them, whether that is in business through a program like SCORE or through paid business coaching. And then you will have, like I said, that this board of advisors, is this a seat that's open and you need someone to support it? Or is this something that you need to outsource, like therapy, or working with a one-on-one coach, or signing up for a program, or even going back to college to take a course? So that has been helpful and instrumental in my career and business, and is something that everyone should be looking out for, whether their life seems perfect and they have the perfect job, or they're ready to take the next step. Mentorship and champions in your life, it's everyone should be identifying those for themselves.
That is so true and so powerful. Now, you've been such an important voice for others, and such a powerful voice for others. How do you keep your own voice authentic and not get lost in the way of trying to voice for somebody else?
I've had to do a lot of that, especially in my diversity, equity, and inclusion work, and anti-racist work. And I I go back to, I cannot pour into others if my vessel is empty. There have been situations, especially in the last couple of months, where I'm like, I feel like I need to make a statement. I feel like I need to share my beliefs, but I need to do the work first. Am I being reactive? How are the situations affecting me personally? How are they affecting me not only as an individual, but as a mother, my relationships with my kids, of with my clients that I work one-on-one or in small groups. So taking the time to understand how things are affecting me, taking the time to understand, even in between coaching sessions, I make sure that I have 15 to 30 minutes into sessions because there's so many things that we can talk about. How do I recharge myself? How do I take care of myself so I can be the best person that I can be for my clients, for my family, for my children, and that I'm not pouring all the time into others because it's just not healthy. And I love the work that I do. I love my business. I love what it's all about. But at the end of the day, my number one core value is joy. And I cannot prioritize joy if I am not prioritizing myself.
That is so beautiful. Thank you. And you tap into something very important that I think many of us have experienced this last year, which is self-care. Because the business mindset or the professional mindset or the job mindset always comes first. And I think this last year has shown us that we need to make that space. Do you have any specific tips or recommendations? You've already talked about a couple on what you do for self-care.
So I have a 3-minute morning and evening journal. So every morning, it's on Amazon. It's like $12. Everyone should get it. It's called the 3-minute morning and evening journal. And it's a 1 page. And you do like 75% in the morning, which takes like 2 minutes, and then 1 minute before going to bed. And you set so I set my intentions for the day, and I decide who is someone that I want to be a highlight of their day. And I've chosen my dog. I'm like, Boris is going to get like an extra 10 minutes walk outside today. I'm going to make his day. Um, and then at the end of the day, I write 3 things that I'm thankful for that were successes for the day. And I've had days where it's like, I drank water. You're alive. But going into that exercise of thankfulness and embracing what was good and looking at your blessings. I talk all the time. You don't have to do the big list every day, but decide every morning what is your ridiculously small step. This is a step that is so small that if there was a zombie apocalypse, you could still do it. What is that ridiculously small step that you can do today to get you closer to your goals? So those 2 things are very, very helpful.
Oh my God, so powerful tips. Thank you so much. And we're running out of time. I feel like we could continue the conversation. Well, we have continued the conversation in other occasions, so I know we could just go on and on. But any final words of advice, any final thoughts?
Yes. Stop postponing that dream. Don't keep it on a Google document. Don't keep it on the notes section of your cell phone. I know that you have that secret Instagram account open for that dream, that business, that account, that blog, and you've never used it. Just start. Just start small. You have big dreams, you have big goals, you will get there, but you just have to start today. What is your ridiculously small step today to get you closer to getting that job, to getting those savings, to launching that business, to starting the blog, to starting the Instagram, to doing TikTok? What can you do today? And just start. Once you start, you can keep moving, but you need to start today.
Oh my God, thank you so much, Paulette. It has been a pleasure getting to know you a little bit more, hearing about your extraordinary story as a woman, as a Latina, as a professional. Thank you so much. And I look forward to continue to partner together.
Thank
Thank you.
you.